Good morning. I'm Stampin' Dee Dee, and this is Stampin' Thursday, and I'm so glad to be with you here today. And this is on Facebook, but I'll be putting this on YouTube just as soon as I finish the live broadcast here. So if you're watching live, I love to know that you're there. So just leave me a comment. Let me know. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for doing that. And I love to hear from you too. And YouTube viewers, it helps so much if you will click like and click share. Put it on your, share the video on your business page or your Facebook page, or send it to a friend that you think might enjoy this technique. And please subscribe and hit that bell, and you'll be notified then every time there's a YouTube video coming up. And I only do it once a week, except for once a month. I do it twice. So, you know, you're not going to get bombarded with a lot of notices. So thank you for being here. And today we are going to look at a technique that's been around for a good while. I did a video on it about 3 or 4 years ago, but it's a great one to be reminded to use. Do you forget some of these techniques that you've learned along the way? I do. I forget about them. And then I see something that reminds me and I go, oh man, I love that technique. So that's what we're doing today with the partial die cutting technique. Now, I will say ahead of time, this technique is great with a lot of your stamp and die cut images. Right now, I've got an order coming in first part of next week, but right now, I mostly only have currently flowers. So I've had to reach back to some of our last chance sets, and but if you've got any type of image, I've done this before with animals and with all sorts of things, so it can be used in lots of different ways. All right, let's get started. What I want to do first is show you the samples, and that way you kind of know where we're going with it. So the first one I'm going to show you, this is one of the sets that was on the last chance list. I don't know if it's still available or not, Umbrella Days. And it's one of my favorites. I love it. I love the clouds. They're not embossed, but they have extra little cuts in them that make them look more realistic. So I did this one with the Forever Plaid Designer Series paper. And can you see the die cut? I'm sure you can. The partial die cut right here. That's the partial die cut. And we're going to talk about how to do that. The storm will end and the sun will shine again. Love that card. Love that set. All right. Here's another card done the same technique as that one with the sketched butterflies. Another set that's been on the last chance list, and I don't have the new butterflies, but certainly you could use that. So again, I hope you can see the die cut. It's right here. And oh, this paper. Why didn't I write that down? It is the Mixed Media Florals. Mixed Media Florals. Now I can't get my paper back in there, so. All right. Yeah. So I love the sketched butterflies. I love that set. And this one is done with the inspirational, I think it's the I know it's inspiration something. Thoughtful Expressions. Thoughtful Expressions stamp set with the hummingbird and the flowers. And so I wanted to use the hummingbird, and actually I'm going to use it again in one of the demonstrations. And this is the lovely lavender paper, which is still current. All right, so we have that one, and then this one is a little different way to use it, and we're going to do both ways today. So this one is still got the die cut. You can see the die cut, but instead it has a little strip of paper along the side, and the image is on the solid, and it's embossed, and it's just done a little bit differently. So we're going to do both of these methods, and hopefully you will find one of them that you like. Maybe you'll try them both. I would be thrilled if you would do that. So I want to remind you that this is my blog, stampindidispot.blogspot.com, and I go there after I finish putting my Facebook Live on YouTube. Then I go and I put the photos and the dimensions and the details on the blog. So go over there, follow that, click follow, and then you'll be notified of that as well anytime I make a post. And that's where you'll find the details. All right, so we're going to start, I think we'll start with this one. Since I have less samples of it, we'll start with this type. So for this, our dimensions are, 4¼ by 11. Your card base is, 11 by 5½. 11, is that right? That doesn't sound right. 11 by 4¼ Oh, you know what? That's because I cut this one wrong. It is 11 by 5½. I thought, what did I do? So let me grab my pool party. Yeah, no wonder. It's 11 by 5½. So this is 11 long. 11 by 5½, scored at 4¼ or scored at 5½. You know, why did I? Now I'm questioning myself. This is by 4¼ It is. All right, back to this. 11 by 4¼ scored at 5½. Here we go. Sorry about that. Why did I've only done one of this style, and I've done several of the others. So, all right, we're back. 11 by 4¼ That's really interesting that I did that way. Okay, so all of these are 4¼ I just want to make sure I get it right. Hold on. So it's going to be 4¼ Oh, no, these are going to be 5½. All right. All right, that's what confused me. So our card is 4¼ by 5½. That's what That's what confused me. Goodness gracious sakes alive. All right, here we go. So we have our card base. And then we have a mat. Well, we have a white piece that is for the inside, and it's 4 by 5 1/4. And we'll just put it there. And then we have a mat that is 2 7/8 by 5 1/2. And I used the Forever Gold for this. And then we have another piece of the same cardstock that is 2 3/4 by 5 1/2. And it is just going to go right in here. And it's just going to have a little bit of a touch on each side. And I'm going to make sure that it's 2 3/4 by 5 by 5 1/2. All right, so it's going to have a little bit showing on each side, just a tiniest bit. And I picked that because of the Designer Series paper that I picked, and it is 1 by 5 1/2, and it is going to go right there. So I wanted to bring out the gold that is in this Designer Series paper. And this is from the Wildflower Birthday. So what I'm going to do first is glue my 2 3/4 by 5 1/2 onto my 2 7/8 by 5 1/2 piece. And that is the piece that we're going to be die cutting. All right. And it's just going to have the tiniest border on each side. But that is just going to really bring out that gold. All right. And if we want, we can go ahead and put this one down as well. And so I'm going to put it right up against the edge. Here we go. So we have those two pieces ready. I'm going to wait on my inside piece. All right, and the image that we're going to use is the hummingbird again. All I have, except for my retiring pieces, are flowers. And while they're beautiful, they are beautiful, I wanted something different. So on this one, we're going to use the hummingbird. And I'm going to put him right there. So I'm going to get my pencil and I'm going to mark right here. I'm just going to bring a line down right here so that I know where this piece was. And now I'm going to come in and stamp this with Versamark because we're going to do some embossing. So I'm going to stamp this with Versamark ink lightly. I think I got it. I'm going to get my embossing buddy and go over this just so I don't have stray powder. Now I'm going to position this. Here's my line. and I want it halfway onto my partial piece. So I'm going to put it right there. All right. Now we have, you can just barely see it, but when we put the gold embossing powder on it, you'll see it. There we go. There's our hummingbird. Isn't he pretty? Oh, love that hummingbird. Okay, put my embossing powder away. Grab my heat tool. Let it warm up just a minute. I'm sorry if it's a little bit noisy. Now we're going to get this embossed, and you can see it begin to turn. See that? See it turning? Yeah, you can really see with the gold. Look at his head and his beak. I think we've got him all. There we go. Now we have our beautiful gold embossed hummingbird. Now, we're going to get the die. Oh. I thought I got the die out, but I guess I didn't. All right, here's our hummingbird die. And here is the set, the Thoughtful Expressions. Now we're going to put this piece, I'm going to get the powder, excess powder off here. Let me grab my, you know, no matter how hard you try, we get powder on our countertop. I don't know how, but I do every time. Now I'm going to have to go wash this. It's got gold powder all over it. How did I get so much powder? All right. Now we're going to take our die. We're going to position this back where it goes, right along that line, right along that penciled in line that we drew, and make sure that it's even. I'm going to make sure that it's even this way and this way. And now I'm going to position my die over the stamped and embossed image. There it goes. Grab some of my tape because this is the piece that we're going to die cut. All right. So we want to die cut this piece, and I'm going to grab my mini embossing. There it is. I thought, where are my plates? There they are. Okay, my mini cut and embossed. Put plate 1, plate 2. Put this piece on plate 2. Move it over to the edge so it doesn't move it around. Put this over it. Now we're going to run it through. All right. Now we have partially die cut this. Now we went through 2 pieces of cardstock. You might even want to do it twice. I knew my mini cut and emboss would do it, but you might want to run it through twice since you're cutting through 2 pieces of cardstock. Now we're going to take our pencil and we're going to get rid of these pencil lines. There's not much that's going to show up. Just that little bit right up there. That's all that showed up because we embossed over the rest of it. Now this is going to go right there. Right there. So what we're going to do is pop it up. Well, before we do that, we're going to stamp a sentiment on it. And we're going to stamp it right. I think we're going to stamp it right on this. We're going to use the same sentiment. And I could even emboss it. I think I will. I hadn't thought about that, but I think I will. I think I'm going to emboss it right on the front, right down here. Happy birthday. I can always use happy birthday cards. Let me make sure I got it. Okay. And let me grab my buddy and get this so that we don't have stray powder. I'm going to put this right over here. Let me make sure I've got it straight. Right there. And then we're going to put the gold embossing powder on it. Yeah, that's great. Hadn't thought of doing that. I was just going to stamp it. Grab my heat gun. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. All right. That is perfect. Perfect, perfect. Now we're going to use dimensionals to put this on because we want it popped up. So we want to make sure that we get dimensionals around the image. So we're going to use the minis for that. But around the edges here, I'm using the regulars. Well, I can use a regular right there. And a regular right there. I can use regulars around all of that. I'm going to put a regular right there. Right on the tip. Maybe a mini right here. All right, I think we've got it. I think we've got it now. So let's get the covers off of these. This is my Take a Pick tool. And I'm using the pointy end of it. And it's wonderful for taking the covers off of your dimensionals. A couple more. And we got them all. All right. Your Take a Pick tool has a little spatula end. And it has the pointy end. And then this is the putty end. And oh my goodness, when you're trying to pick up little bitty things, this end is priceless. So I use my Take a Pick tool all the time. All right, now we're ready to position this And this is where we need to really be careful to get it in place, even with the top and the bottom. I think we've got it. There it is. Look at that. Is that not awesome? You know, I think I'm going to pull it up just a little bit and I'm going to move it this way just a tad. There we go. There we go. All right, there is our partial die cut. Now, I could add, and I think I will. I think I'll add some gems. These are the neutral adhesive backed sequins, and because this is already raised, I think I'll use these. Now, I can use my putty end for this, or my, but you can see how easily. I think I'll do it up here, where we need a little bit more up here. So I think we'll do it right there. There we go. You could also add ribbon if you wanted to. You can add anything you want to it, but we're going to leave it at that. I just think that's beautiful. I love this partial die cut. It is so interesting. So interesting. And now I do have the piece that goes in the center. And I think for this, maybe I'll just get a piece of the Designer Series paper. And that's the Wildflower Birthday. And this is the paper we used. So, oh, but there's a piece. Maybe I can. Yeah, I think I want it going up and down. So we'll use this one. And I think this is going, the stripe, the gold is going that way. And on this one, I think I'm going to have it going up and down. So I'm just going to cut a piece off of this at about 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, and then I'm just going to use my white glue and get it. Come on, white glue. Come out. Come out, come out. It's always a challenge to get it going. And that's why I keep pins right here handy. Whoops. But it's the little one I need. If you can hit the hole. Whoops. Well, you know what I did? I poked the little thing in, but I'm going to go ahead and try for this. So now it's not going to come out as tiny, but it's okay. We'll make it work. All right. And we're going to put this right along the edge, even with the edges. We're going to have a little bit to cut off. It didn't get even for some reason. There. Now, more even. Throw that away because it's got glue on it. Okay, and then we'll put this inside. I've got glue on my hands. Now, this ready to go inside. And you can put whatever you want on the inside. Now, there we go. Happy birthday. All right, so we have that one done. And that is the partial die cut where you actually die cut the cardstock and have your designer series paper off to the side. And I heat emboss, you don't have to. I did on these two. Just because I like doing that. Now, our next one is going to be more along the lines of this one, where we're gonna mat and die cut the designer series paper. So let me move these. And like I said, you'll have individual photos and measurements for all of these on my blog. All right. So here is what we're going to use for this one. We're going to use the, this is gray granite, I think. I think this is gray granite. And cherry cobbler. And then the designer series paper is from Nests of Winter, which I think is on our last chance list. So this one is going to go this way. And this is 4 by 5 1/4. It's going to go right here. So you have a 4 by 5 1/4. And then you're going to have a white piece that is 3 3/4 by 5. And it's going to go right here. And that's where you're going to do your stamping. Then you're going to have a mat that is 2 1/8 by 4 5/8. And you're going to have your designer series paper, which is 2 by 4 1/2. And it is going to go right here. And this is what we're going to cut. I've got glue on my fingers. Can you tell? This is what we're going to cut. This will be our partial die cut this time. So you can see there's a difference in the two. All right, we're going to go ahead and put our red mat down, our cherry cobbler mat. Okay. Get this down with some border on each side. This is the 4 by 5 1/4 piece. We'll go ahead and fold this and get our bone folder. My mind went blank. Does your mind go blank on simple things that you use every day? A bone folder to burnish that. And now this is the piece we're going to stamp. So let's put our designer series paper onto our mat. So this is the 2 by 4 1/2 piece of designer series paper onto our 2 1/8 by 4 5/8 piece of mat of cherry cobbler. Get that on because this is the piece we're going to die cut. So now we're going to use a couple of the birds from the Winterly Treetops. And let me clean off the hummingbird and put it away because we're going to use the same block. All right. And we're going to use this block for our birds. So our birds, I thought I would have this coming right off the edge of the white. And I'm going to place it down a little bit here because I want the bird up here to show. So I think that's going to work. So here's what we're going to do. I like the way this was positioned. I'm going to move it this way just a little bit. And once again, I'm going to get my pencil, I think. There it is. I'm going to make sure that it's even at the bottom and even at the top. And then I'm going to mark on this one, pen. On this one, I'm going to mark the corner as well. It helps to have the corner marked. And then I'm going to put a mark right down the middle. There we go. So we're going to stamp first. And we're going to position our stamp. Well, just came off the block. That would not be good. And we're going to use Early Espresso to stamp our image on. I don't want that to come off the block. Okay. Oh, yeah. Let me make sure that I've got it down far enough. Yeah, I do. It'll come right down here. Right there. There we go. Now we're going to take the die from Winterly Treetops for the two birds. Again, I don't even know that this is, it may be on the last chance or it may have already sold out. And we're going to position this right here. We're not going to put it down. We're just going to position it. There it is. That's why I did the corner up here. And now we're going to place our die so that it is positioned over this part. And if it's positioned correctly over this part, then it'll also, once it cuts, it'll be positioned over the rest. So we've got it positioned. I'm going to tape it there and here. And on this one, I'm going to put it through the big cut and emboss. So I'm just going to take it over here for a minute and run it through. Okay. We ran it through. Now I'm going to very carefully take it off. And we don't need this piece that we die cut out. I'll put my stickies back up there. Now, here is our, we'll throw that away. Here is our partial die cut image, and we're going to line up the corner up here as well as, looky there, perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, what I forgot to do was the coloring. I forgot that. So, I'm going to cut me another piece of 3 3/4 by, no, this is 3 3/4 by 5. I can't believe I did that. I tell you what, 3 3/4 by 5, that's our white. Now, the thing I'm going to have to do, though, is, man, I messed up, because I don't know if I can recreate this and get it exactly right. Let me see. I think I can. I think I can. I'm going to do a little bit of an outline. Now, you would not do this, but I messed up. I forgot to do my coloring on my bird. All right, I think I've done enough that I can stamp that. Yeah. Well, let me do a little bit more. You know, there's always a way to fix it. And I wanted to show you the stamping. So, all right, I've got enough of that on there that I can put the stamp. So what? So I'm trying to clean this off. Get the, because I wanted to use the ink to add some color to this, and I'm going to do that with blending brushes. So I'm going to take Cherry Cobbler first. And I'll use my red blending brush. And I'm just going to add color to part of the birds with the red Cherry Cobbler. Okay, we may come back and do a little more. And then I'm going to use the blue, the Blueberry Bushel. I'm going to add a little more color, and I'm using my blue blending brush. So I'm looking for where I didn't add red. Now I'm not doing the berries. So if I get a little on the berries, that's okay. This is a blended look. But I'm adding Blueberry Bushel. Okay, I did that. I'll go ahead and close it. I think it's going to be enough. And then I'm going to use gray for the berries. So I've got Smoky Slate and my gray blending brush. And I'm just going to add some gray. I think we've got it. The gray's harder to tell, but I think we've got it. All right. Now I'm going to give it a huff and try to stamp it right back on this. I don't know how that's going to work. We'll see. If not, we may just have to suffice with coloring the birds. Let's see how this works. And then if not, we'll go back and do that. There we go. Not quite. But look, I love the color. That's what I love about it, is the color. I'm going to erase my pencil lines. We're a little off, but it wasn't a photopolymer stamp, so all right, let's see if this lines up at all. You know, it's gonna work. Looky there, we can make it work. It's gonna work. All right. And we'll use this for another one. All right, now I need to close up my ink pad here. And you know what I might do is come along with my Smoky Slate blending brush and just, my Stampin' Blend, and give these berries a little bit more gray. Just to make them stand out just a little bit. Just a little bit more gray. A couple up here. Of course, these are with the blue, but that's okay. All right, so now we're going to take our dimensionals and add them around the edges, and we are going to have to use the minis on this one for sure to get those edges. You want to be sure and get those edges so that when you put it in the mail, it doesn't crumple up, bend. And so we'll do that one there. We'll do this one here. I might can cut a little piece for that. I think I can. Sorry, I wasn't looking at my screen. I'm so sorry. I had it off the screen. All right, we're putting dimensionals in all the little areas that might put one right there and put one right there. And maybe even right there. We just want to make sure that all of those areas stay solid. All right, now we're ready to take these off with our take a pick tool. Pick that one off of that one. That may need to be done by, there it is. Yeah, I got it. Throw those away. That one's sticky, that one's sticky. All right, I think we got them all. Let's go ahead and put this one on our card base. I'm going to put this one on. Just position it. And then we're going to put this right over it. Keeps wanting to stick down here and I'm not ready to put it yet. Get it right. Oh, can come down just a little bit. Let me make sure I've got it even. That's good. That's good. That worked perfect. That worked perfect. And then we've got our greeting, our happy birthday. And I'll do it in the cherry cobbler. And we're just going to cut around that. There we go. Let's just cut around it. Okay. We won't cut all the way down. We'll just to give the idea of the H. We'll cut that off. Cut that off. Won't come all the way up. Come around. There's lots of ways to fussy cut a sentiment. I'm doing this one a little more detailed than I normally do. Just giving it a try. Of course, you can buy the sets that have the dies. I don't have that, and so there we go. Happy birthday. And I'm going to use dimensionals for part of this. And I'll have to use the minis. So I'm going to put them down here on the birthday end. I'll put 2 of them. I'll get those off. Use a little bit of glue right here. Be careful because I don't have my little fine tip pen in. I just use a dot of glue. I just want a dot on that. All right. Happy birthday. There we go. There it is. We do have an inside to use. We won't put that in right now because we're running late today. But that was just showing you how you can color your stamps with your ink. It's showing you how you can fussy cut your birthday, your greeting, and how to do partial die cutting. So I hope that you have enjoyed this. I hope it's something you'll do. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. Sometimes I make it look harder because I have to go back and fix something, but it's not. And so I'm going to put these here. All of these partial die cut cards. There we go. So if you want to see them individually and know what papers were used and the dimensions, then come visit my blog, and I will have all of that down probably by late this afternoon. So be sure and come by. I'll be putting this over on YouTube right now. And so if you have a friend who doesn't do Facebook Live, but she's not on Facebook, but does YouTube, then go to that and share it with her. And I appreciate that. I appreciate each one of you. Thank you for watching. And I'm looking down here. Hey, babe. My husband is watching. So, all right. Thank you so much. God bless. Bye-bye.